Welcome to the Zero Two podcast with me, Catchy, and LT. Today we talk about E3 2021. Starting off with Elden Ring, what did you think of that?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm a fan of things like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, which this looks very much similar to. Interesting enough, George R. R. Martin, I think, was included with the story for
Yeah,
this particular game.
started with the production of the along with From Software. I think that's an interesting kind of take. You cross over Western and Japanese kind of storytelling.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. It's very much, I think, if Sekiro and Bloodborne had a kid, this is what it looks like.
It looks good, and it was, I think, the first thing we saw, and we'll, yeah, that's okay. Maybe E3 this year will be really good. That was pretty impressive. I'm okay with that.
And unfortunately, that didn't hold for the remainder of the show, as we'll get into a little bit later. But coming up after that was actually another positive, Back for Blood.
Back for Blood looked good. Creators of Left 4 Dead, which is good apart from Evolve, but they're back in their element and they're doing that, and it looked really, really fun. And that's something we'll both definitely pick up, and I think a lot of people will pick up.
Yeah, we've
Look,
we've we've sunk a lot of time into Left 4 Dead 2, and we were the same as everyone else, hoping and hoping for a Left 4 Dead 3 because it is such a fun multiplayer. It really is. It's just horde gameplay at its best. But yeah, no, this looks definitely cool. Definitely going to have to pick it up.
and of course, Valve having their clutches on Left 4 Dead 3 might as well just come out with something. Back for Blood, that's a good enough name. Will
I think we can casually bury it with Half Life 3.
technically was a Half-Life 3, Half-Life Alex, but that wasn't enough to get me to get a. I don't think anything will be quite enough to get me to get a VR headset.
Yeah, no, I have nothing I've seen on anything, whether it be Xbox, PC, PlayStation. Nothing has really tilted me over that line as to where I'd like or enjoy sitting somewhere with this thing on my head.
Yeah, I don't think it's as consumer friendly as it could be, but that was probably as close as we get. Anyway, moving on from that, Far Cry 6. That was a mixed bag.
Yeah, we got a little bit closer look at the villain of this upcoming game that Giancarlo Esposito is playing, which that's he looks fine. I'm going to be interested to see how much of an impact he has in the actual game. But some of the game, I don't know, the gameplay looked a little bit janky. Some of the character models look janky. What do you think?
I think some of the animations, I don't know about janky, they just looked, well, yeah, janky, but they looked aged. It looked like they didn't put that much effort into a lot of the character animation or the graphics in general. I couldn't tell the difference between 6 and 5. If I was to tell the truth, it's supposed to be a generational gap there, but
It
doesn't really
def
seem to
it
be.
it definitely does not look like a generational upgrade. What do you think? I'm particularly excited that this quiet protagonist, silent protagonist, is gone, and we're actually getting a character.
I think it builds the world a lot more. I think it was good for 3. It didn't hurt 4, but 4 had a lot of problems anyway. And yeah, having a creator character for 5 didn't really help at all. So it's good to see a return to form. She looks like a serviceable protagonist, and couldn't say much more. I'd say about the same for the villain, serviceable.
I think some of the gameplay looked cool. I think some of the weapons look as good as any other Far Cry game. Far Cry has always had really good gunplay, in my opinion. Some of the interesting weapons that we get is like a homemade minigun that uses a motorcycle engine for power and what is it, a disc thrower that was playing
CD
Macarena.
launcher, something
Yeah.
like that. And yeah, some inventive weapons that they're supposed to be connected with. Cuba has, or the fictional Cuba they're in, has limited means, so they had to be inventive with things, which is fun. and I think the gunplay and the gameplay will be fine. Just how the rest of it ties together, maybe not. I don't know.
I think we've said to each other once before, as long as the world and the world building is good, as long as
Hmm.
the sandbox is good, as long as it's
The
fun,
sandbox.
as long as it's fun moving from A to B. I don't know about you, but in Far Cry 5, I probably fast traveled in that game more than any other Far Cry.
No, you want something that's like I want to explore this world, like kind of like three. Like you had animals and places to look at and things to an excuse to go around the world and see it.
Yeah,
And five, that definitely wasn't there. Like, what could you do? You could look around a little bit, but basically, you were just on a fast track to complete the story.
yeah, which is really disappointing. And hopefully, Far Cry 6 is a return to form. So, next up, we saw a little bit of Overwatch 2. What do you think of that?
I had fun with Overwatch when it came out. We had fun. We put over 100 hours into it, and it was good. It was really fresh and new, and a totally different take on an FPS or a hero based shooter, or it invented the hero based shooter.
And it did it well.
It did it incredibly well. It was more than quality. It was like Blizzard could not fail at this point. It's Blizzard. It's going to be good, and it was good. That was before Warcraft 3. And Overwatch 2, I don't know what they're going to do to make it different.
I don't know about you, but some of the love for Overwatch that I had really diminished when some of the community just turned into massive a-holes to play with.
I think the community was weird to begin with. There's a lot of fucking porn surrounding a lot of those characters, and they took. I think they took it overall too seriously. People in competitive, I guess that's just like Counter Strike's the same way. Anything with competitives the same way. But Jesus, look at the game. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, look, and that's exactly why they had ranked and unranked matches. But the anger from the ranked matches started to spill into the unranked matches, and it just got harder and harder to just play without your brain and just have a bit
I
of
remember
fun.
a couple times. I don't know if I told you this, but a couple times you just get random messages on PSN about people fucking ranting and raving about how you weren't playing the game right.
Yeah, and there's like if you're on any particular if you're on a microphone whilst you're playing, you will get people telling you, "Don't play that character. Play this character. We need one of these characters. Go do this. Go do that." It's like,
Chill
dude,
out. We're
calm
not.
down. It's a game. I want to have fun playing my game. I'm going to play the character I want to play.
Yeah, I don't
Go
know.
away.
If you want to take it super super seriously and you're way high ranked and you've obviously put fucking 1,000 hours into something.
But that's exactly why they had ranked and
Yeah,
unranked.
like especially in like yeah, just casual stuff. Who cares? Just play whatever. You can have six of the same character. Just do that. It's plenty fun.
But yeah, they had some good characters. They had some good maps. The gameplay, like you said, was really good. I don't know what they're going to do to build upon that, other than different maps, different characters, perhaps different game modes. One of the things that we have heard about it is what was the original Overwatch? Was it 6v6?
Yeah, 6v6.
Yeah, the new Overwatch, apparently Overwatch 2 is downgrading to 5v5.
That could open up new tactical like combinations of characters. I suppose it's a bit. I don't know. I didn't mind having 12 players in the same thing.
Yeah, no, I had no problem with 6v6. I thought it was pretty well rounded.
But I think Overwatch 2 is going to be. I couldn't think of it being more than just a layer of paint over Overwatch.
Yeah, it's kind of going to be like a DLC kind of thing.
It's going to be a few new characters, a lot of the old characters, new maps, and a few new game types that might succeed or might not. I don't know.
And maybe some updated graphics. But that, other than that, that's about it.
So tell me, bro, how excited are you for Death Stranding coming to PS5?
Oh, the special director's cut! I am so hyped. And the trailer that they released, dude, it blew my mind. The interaction with the main character from Death Stranding, looking at a cardboard box, taking it off the shelf, putting it on the ground, thinking, yeah, no, I can use this. This will be my camouflage. No one will see me in this. A la Metal Gear Solid. Nah,
Nah,
not
the whole no.
not my thing.
It's
They can take this trailer, the announcement, they can take that whole game and shove it where the sun don't shine because I'm not interested.
that was such a polarizing game. It looks. I didn't buy it. I didn't play it. I watched a fair bit of gameplay, and that's enough to turn you off. You're just walking aimlessly or seemingly aimlessly, trying to balance a whole bunch of boxes on your back. I don't know. Maybe a movie. I think he wants to make a movie. I think
I
Kojima wants to
can
make a movie.
I can definitely see him making an interesting film because his games and some of the storylines in them, especially in Death Stranding, it's interesting. It piqued my interest, but I don't want to play a walking simulator.
The cutscenes were very good, tying back into he. I think he wants to make a movie. The gameplay looked awful. Some of the story elements were, I don't know about bizarre, but just seemed off. I don't know. It's just I'm too white, I'm too Western, I'm too something, but I don't get it.
I personally think there's this echelon of people that hold Hideo Kojima in a on such a high pedestal that anything he gives them, they're gonna lap it up.
Yeah, I'd say there's a whole lot of people like that. Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid was good. I liked Metal Gear Solid, and I could take some of the wackier elements that Kojima wanted that really personified those games. Death Stranding seemed like okay, studio and who's financing this is giving entirely too much confidence and too much creative license to this one person because this isn't really. I don't know if was a critical like sales success either.
I don't think it was. I think, like you said, it's very, very divisive. It's either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah, it's niche.
So moving on next, Borderlands is getting a new entry, revolving around Tiny Tina. What do you think about this?
Borderlands 2 was good. I think you'd agree with that.
Oh
Borderlands
yeah,
2 was very. The pre sequel was not so great. And Tiny Tina as a character, well, it fits in with the rest of it. Her DLC for Borderlands 2 was very good.
what do you think about Borderlands 3?
Oh, and there was 3 too. I didn't play that. I heard
Yeah, I,
nothing but mediocrity about 3.
that's the worst thing I think a game can do, because I think if you get bad reviews, at least you know what you're building on.
Hmm.
If you get this idea of you release something and it just goes completely unnoticed, which is kind of like what Borderlands 3 did for me, at least. It's just, yeah, it was just a lot of more of the same and nothing really groundbreaking. So easy to ignore.
Yeah, well, exactly that. I mean, my girlfriend loved Borderlands 2, played the shit out of that game. I get a Borderlands 3. It's, oh, yeah, you're going to like this, right? You're gonna get some use out of this gift that I'm giving you. I think the shrink wrap is still there. Or she put it in for like an hour and was like, not really.
Well,
So
see how long did we play on the multiplayer with Borderlands 2?
with other people too, like co-op. I was playing with people from America, but even dealing with the ping, it was still fun and it was still compelling, and you still wanted to go around, and the characters were good. But yeah, I just 3 dropped off, and I don't know. Maybe this will be good. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It could be good. It could be interesting. I'd wait for reviews. It's definitely not something I'd buy on release.
If it builds on Borderlands 2, builds on Borderlands 3, I presume. It's good. I'll pick it up. Until then, it's a definite wait and buy.
Yeah, that's definitely the community feedback. Waiting on that. So, what a highlight of this lackluster E3 was Battlefield 6 or Battlefield 2042.
Yeah, this looks like an absolute return to form. I can see a lot of Battlefield 4 here. And after Battlefield 5, this looks like the palate cleanser we all need.
A big strength of it is it's a return of Battlefield 4, which we were saying for a long time is we need another Battlefield 4, just something new, something that differentiates it, and something. A lot of the success of the trailer and all the interest in this game was it was one of the few that showed actual gameplay. So there's a difference between a vertical slice or a trailer or something like that that gives you an idea of what the game is, and game.
Especially those heavily edited, like cinematic trailers that give you no sense of anything.
I have no idea what the game is. Like, so many that came out on E3 were just an idea of a trailer, an idea of what this is. Okay, that tells me absolutely nothing. But in Battlefield 6, you got a great idea of what you'd be playing, and you got a great idea that it would be fucking fun.
Yeah, we saw the players, we get back to the vehicles, tanks, helicopters, jets. As we said, it returned to form of Battlefield 4. We got a modern day setting, a little bit of not so much futuristic tech going on. And dude, it looks fun. And we're getting these huge weather systems that are going to be involved in the maps, which look really cool.
Yeah, you could see tornadoes running about, and that's something that builds upon it. It's like Battlefield 1 with the blimps or
Well,
airships
it's
and
going to
stuff like that.
build on Battlefield 4's
Train.
Levolution as well.
Yeah.
If you remember things like, Shanghai and stuff like that, buildings collapsing and all that
Oh
sort
yeah,
of
of
stuff.
course you get that. Yeah.
These storms are going to directly affect the map and your gameplay.
I can see getting at least a couple of 100 hours out of this. I think a lot of people are going to pick this up, and I think it's one of those games that's really good because, at least in Australia, where pings are terrible to connect to anywhere else in the world, it'll have a player base for a couple years, and you could put it down for a while and come back to it, and that's good in and of itself.
Yeah, just one thing we need: Oceanic servers.
Mm.
Please, Oceanic servers.
We'll have Oceanic servers. It's just, will people still play the game? And that's, with multiplayer games, that's always the issue. Like, will people be playing this? If I put this down, can I still get 10 hours out of it in a few months? That's kind of what I've been thinking about Chivalry 2. And Battlefield 6 will definitely be one of those. And it'll be worth playing, and it'll be worth picking up on release, I'm pretty sure.
Definitely. And as you said, it was by far and away the best thing to come out of this E3 in our opinion anyway.
Which bodes not so well for what is left.
Yeah, that's for sure. With things like The Sims 4, another DLC, adding to the laundry list of DLCs.
Man, that is such a great money-making idea. And people that play The Sims, I guarantee you the average Sims player picks up a lot of these really expensive expansions for the game.
I was just about to say these expansions they're not cheap. They really aren't.
What are they? They're like, I thought $50 the last time I saw them on Origin.
I can't
Like
remember,
Australian,
but
something outrageous.
even after they've been out for a fairly long time, I know on the consoles they're something like $25.
I mean, and they add nothing. Apparently, according to people that play, my girlfriend included, there's something there. I mean, in this expansion, cottage living, The Sims goes rural with its first foray in countryside living. That doesn't scream $50 to me. But
what do you think? What was Blood and Wine for The Witcher 3? How much was that when it came out?
oh, that was like $30 max.
Yeah, content, man.
And the amount you got out of that, that's like a third of the game right there. You could get another 30 hours out of that easy.
Well, see, I remember when Far Cry 3's DLC came out, Blood Dragon. That was such a fun DLC to have. And in Australia here, it was like $20.
It was $20. I remember bought a physical copy of it, and it was great. What a great idea for a DLC. What like, you could tell they're having a lot of fun developing it and everything. I think I heard something about that coming out bundled with Far Cry 6, something like that.
Yeah, I think with Far Cry 6, we're getting a few interesting things. We're also getting a mode where you play as previous villains of the Far Cry series. So you've got Vaas, Pagan Min, and Jacob Seed. I don't know what that's going to be like. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, if I end up picking it up, if it comes out and people are raving about it enough to warrant picking it up, it'll be interesting.
It actually makes me a little bit worried about how the quality of Far Cry 6, because they're dangling Vaas in front of us again.
Yeah, it's like, remember this good game?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll play on that
remember when we were
nostalgia.
great? Remember when we just touched your heartstrings and then made you just come on, come get it, come on, here, Far Cry 6.
Far Cry 6. Yeah. It's kind of like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. He's Call of Duty 4 remastered. You want that, don't you? Well, yeah, no, you got to buy our other shit game that's next to it too.
Yeah, it's bundled with it. You can't buy that on its own.
No, you couldn't for a while. I think it was like 6 months. You couldn't buy Modern Warfare Remastered unbundled with Infinite Warfare, something like that. Next one of interest that wasn't terrible was Payday 3, and that I've been kind of waiting for a while because I played plenty of Payday 2. I think we played plenty of Payday 2.
Yeah, Payday 2 was again one of those games you could just sink hour and hour after. And yeah, it's just so easy to jump into a match and play, especially when you've got two people. It doesn't make the modes a bit harder sometimes, but yeah, a ton of good stuff, ton of good maps, ton of good game modes. It's always fun.
Hopefully, something about Payday 2 which kind of pissed me off and a lot of people was the amount of expansions and extra content coupled, I think, coupled with loot boxes, but just the expansions themselves and the amount of DLC for that game was unruly. It was
Yeah,
too much.
because they expanded and did like a whole John Wick esque kind of thing in regards to coins and things like that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did that. There was a John Wick. There was all sorts of expansions. There was like a H3 expansion, and hopefully Payday 3 can release with a lot of content and not have to do that so much.
Now, quickly moving on to this one. This one is another game that's gonna, I'm guessing, be pretty divisive amongst the fans of the series. We saw Rainbow Six Extraction, which is a Rainbow Six with what looks like zombies.
It looks like Horde mode Rainbow Six. It looks like a kind of a counterpart to Back for Blood. I what's the point? Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Zombies. What the fuck is that?
He'd be
Uh,
rolling in his grave.
rolling and shaking violently in his grave. But look, I'm not going to write it off. It's one of those things we didn't get. I don't think we got any gameplay out of it. That was just a trailer. It was a concept. I'm not going to write it off. I think Ubisoft had put plenty of money into Rainbow Six after Siege, and maybe it'll be good.
Yeah, look, this could definitely be a surprise. This could be one of those games that we sort of shit on at the start and then go, oh, well, why are they doing this? And then it could come out and have fantastic gameplay. It's one of those ones that's definitely going to be a wait and see.
So, Assassin's Creed Valhalla has a new expansion. Now, I know you played plenty of the original Valhalla. I didn't play it at all, but
And you're probably better for it. Your life has not been wasted like mine has. I put around 80, 90 hours into that game. I didn't finish the main story because I just lost all will to live in the end. I hate the characters. I hate the story. I hate the game. It's grindy. It is the biggest grind fest of a game I've ever played. The current expansions and sort of DLC, or even like the free LC events that they've done were really just cheap, nasty, lazy. Even the River Raids expansion was just so lazy. And I think that is everything about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Everything was just lazy. It's pretty. It was full of bugs when it released. It's not a lot better now. Yeah, it's just really disappointing after Odyssey,
so
which I really enjoyed.
so yeah, the new expansion's not exactly gonna kick it back into playing that.
The new expansion is not going to do anything for me. I've put that game on the shelf, and that's where it's going to stay.
Moving on, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. That was an interesting trailer. To
That
tie in,
was that came completely out of left field.
yeah, I wasn't expecting to see an Avatar game at all.
Nobody was.
It was, again, it was just one of those trailers. It was more of a concept. It gave you an idea of what you were doing, which you could just watch Avatar and get the same feel.
From the team that brought you the Division, which I don't know. I don't know if they're going to work with an Avatar surrounding and setting,
Well,
but
some people like the Division as a looter shooter. I don't know if they've got the talent to do it. If I've played it, it's not terribly great, but they might knock it out of the park. It's one of those things. It's just a concept trailer that's shown to you. It might be good. It might not.
Now it's confirmed already that it's locked at first person. It's first person gameplay. What do you think about that?
It's not what I'd think. It's not what I think it'd be. I think it'd be third person, and that'd really lend itself to the kind of gameplay I'm imagining for this. Again, it might be okay. It might not. It depends.
Yeah, I think the Avatar world would be an interesting one to work with, especially with all the different species. You've got, humans v Navi, and I think you could really make it an interesting game, especially with the environment, the settings, the nighttime effects for the plant life and the environments on that particular planet are all pretty much neon. I think that'd be interesting to see.
It's got a hell of a universe to work with, so it has no shortage of like story material and what to make the game. But yeah, it's another one of those things you wait and see. And aside from Battlefield 2042, probably the biggest announcement or the biggest game to be mentioned, Halo Infinite.
Yeah, finally we get a little bit of a look into the multiplayer mode,
which is free to play. So that's interesting.
That to me, look, I like the idea of free to play multiplayer games. Don't get me wrong. I would probably prefer that you pay a little bit for it so that you have more invested into it, so it makes it a little less hacker infested.
Yeah, especially on PC, which is where I'd want to play it. It looked like Halo. Like the trailer, it looked like Halo.
Oh, definitely.
I've played this. It's good. It's certainly very good. There's a few new things, a few new weapons, but it's Halo.
I will say this, Halo Infinite, we didn't get any more gameplay in relation to the single player story mode, I don't think, from memory. And we also didn't get a release date.
Yeah, that's what I'd be most interested in, is the story mode campaign. I don't mind Halo multiplayer. Multiplayer for Halo is great, but yeah, I'd kind of rather see where that was going and some paid content that doesn't involve a whole bunch of expansions and skins and however they're going to monetize the free to play.
Again, this is kind of a wait and see, and we're all just sitting with bated breath at the moment, trying to find out when the hell this thing is going to come out. Is it going to be 2021? Is it going to be 2022? Like, how long do we have to wait for this thing?
I'd say sooner than later. It was supposed to be a launch title for the Series X and S, and I can't imagine that it'd take too much longer. I'd say, even later this year or next year. That's what I'd give it.
I'd say if it's not Christmas this year, it should be the first quarter of 2022. Now, following that, we got a little bit of announcement for Starfield, and we got a small cinematic trailer.
We got about as much information about Starfield as we had a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think basically Bethesda said, hang on. Oh, God, we don't have anything. What about that other thing we're supposed to be working on, that Star... What was it called again? Oh yeah, Starfield. Yeah, let's make a little, just a little morsel of a trailer.
Yeah, well,
don't put too much money or effort into it. We don't need gameplay. No,
it's in space. Make something up. It's in. I'm pretty sure it involves space travel, something like that.
I've got the feeling that it's going to be space involved. Yeah.
Look, it'll probably be good. Well, hold on. I was going to say it'll probably be good because we've heard about it for so long, but then Cyberpunk was the thing.
Getting flashbacks and PTSD already.
Yeah, but it might be good. I no idea. It was a dude in a spaceship with a fucking astronaut suit. Okay.
Yeah, again, it just doesn't give you much of an indication as to what the game's going to be, what it's going to be like. So I think they gave a release date of November 2022. But considering it's only a year and a bit away, I thought we would have got more.
Well, hopefully they'll start ramping up any gameplay of anything that this game might be. And I'm obviously kind of pessimistic about giving Bethesda any benefit of the doubt, so I'll definitely need to see something.
After the train wreck that was Fallout 76, I think Bethesda's stock has really gone down.
It should. It was a terrible game, and it really proved that anyone from the heights of the most amazing publishers out there could really fail, like really fail.
And again, we've seen lying to the audience, lying to gamers, lying to their consumers, and that just it can't keep going.
It's again taps back into Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red was supposed to be Jesus, the Jesus of the industry, and they kind of lied and screwed their way through that. So
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see these studios that were so great and they had some really great games fall so far.
Age of Empires 4, bro.
Hyped for Age of Empires 4, actually. I remember as a kid getting my Kellogg's.
Yeah, you got it free in cereal.
Getting my Age of Empires disc out of the Kellogg's cornflakes packet. Dude, that game was great. I loved Age of Empires 1.
Yeah, Age of Empires 1 was that you could spend a lot of hours as a kid on your trash PC, and you're just having a lot of fun with all the different civilizations or factions. And then 2 was really good.
Yeah, and as we said, the first one was completely free, which was a surprise. 2, again, built on what 1 did so well. Then the expansions for 2, I think, were really great.
I had a lot of fun with 3. I remember the campaign being about the fountain of youth, and the multiplayer was good. The graphics were good for the time. I remember for an RTS in 2007, I think it was.
And definitely a different kind of feel to it.
Yeah, and it was certainly a bit further on in history, so you had muskets and all that. But it was great too. And the remasters of 2, 2. So there was a HD remaster, and then there was a complete remake of it. And they were both good. Couldn't complain there. So 4 is hopeful.
Oh, definitely. I think Age of Empires 4 will be a good game. I definitely think it's a buy on release. And another one, Age of Mythology. Do you ever play Age of Mythology?
Never played it.
Age of Mythology was really good. You got some sort of godly units and a few more mechanics in there. So yeah, the Age of Empires brand as a whole has always been pretty positive. So I'm looking forward to Age of Empires 4.
My personal most excited for game of this E3, aside from maybe Battlefield 6, is Stalker 2. I know you've never played it, but I really enjoyed Call of Pripyat and Shadow of Chernobyl, and thought they were really unique games. And anyone that's played them will attest to that. They were really unique, captivating, atmospheric games. And 2, while again it was more concept than anything, it did show a little gameplay. It did look amazing, and I'm more than hyped for that.
Yeah, no, having never played a Stalker game, it looks interesting. I could definitely pick it up. Following that, we saw Redfall, bringing vampires into an immersive open world co-op shooter. What do you think of that?
I feel like I've probably seen it before. I wasn't too interested in it, to be honest. It didn't grab me. Again, it was one of those trailers. It was an okay trailer, but it's something I wouldn't play. I don't think I'd find enough people to play it with, or that I want to play it with. And there's other games that seem very similar there. Back 4 Blood seems similar. Apparently this one is open world, so I don't know how that'll change it up for being co-op.
Yeah, this is definitely another sort of wait and see if it's got some good gameplay, if it's fun. Just don't know. Before we move too far, we need to mention the Xbox mini fridge. Did you see this?
Yeah, the mini fridge, which was the second most popular.
It was the second most viewed announcement behind the Battlefield 2042 trailer. Everyone was excited about the Xbox Series X mini fridge.
I didn't see the fridge. Is the fridge pretty good?
It's exactly the same as the console, except it's a fridge. It's a little mini bar fridge.
It's what can you fit like one bottle of beer in there?
You could probably fit a couple cans of Red Bull in there. I don't know if it's going to have the girth to handle a full beer.
Is it? How much is it going to be? Did they give you a price?
Unfortunately, they didn't tell us how much it's going to be. It'd probably be around the 200 to 300 range. I'm thinking it's a little bar fridge, so you're probably going to pay a little bit for
I could think of some better things to buy with $200 to $300.
it. But no, fans of the Xbox Series X that really love their Xbox. Yeah, look, maybe it's set up for a worldwide release about December.
Then on to Resident Evil Village, which I really liked and did review. The idea of DLC coming in the future has been confirmed, so that's nice, I guess.
Yeah, it was kind of odd that they sort of released this as an announcement at E3, but we didn't get any story confirmation as to how it's going to go, who's going to be involved in this particular DLC. It was, yeah, really odd.
Well, I think they had to flesh it out somehow. Capcom had a pretty bare bones kind of conference.
Oh, definitely. They're definitely one of the more light on content for this particular E3. Not a star for content as Take Two.
Yeah, that was a fucking shit heap. That there was no games, but there was some very important diversity reminders for the.
I don't know who in their right mind thought it was a good idea to advertise for E3 and then come in with a lecture about current day genders and politics.
I think the like dislike ratio kind of gives you an idea about people's response to that.
It was, I think it was the most downvoted uh, conference of E3.
I can believe that. I remember watching the chat replay. It wasn't exactly positive. There was definitely some criticism in there. Oh man, what a terrible idea and missing the mark of who people want Grand Theft Auto 6. That's all they want. You talk about diversity. Shit.
I don't know. I wanted to be lectured to, dude. Come on.
Yeah, pass up this opportunity to tell me I'm fucking terrible.
You're just a white man. That's why you hate it.
That's
White male.
I would have a different opinion if I was something else for sure.
You're exactly the kind of audience we're trying to weed out.
Yeah, white males. What made you? Fuck Vice City. Fucking it was all white males. Get the fuck out of here.
Now, moving on after that, we saw a couple of things from Nintendo. Breath of the Wild 2.
I never played one. I don't own a Switch, so maybe good, maybe not.
Yeah, it's not really particularly of any interest in my world. I've never really played any Zelda games, so I hear Breath of the Wild was a great game. Nintendo fans really enjoyed it, so I dare say you'd be getting at least equal quality with the upcoming Breath of the Wild 2.
Well, yeah, I played Ocarina of Time, and that'd be somewhere in my favorite games list. I'm not opposed to Zelda, it's just I don't own a Switch. I'm sure Breath of the Wild is as good as, or perhaps is as good as it's said to be, but Breath of the Wild 2, yeah, well, maybe I'll own a Switch in 2022, I don't know.
And coming after that was also the announcement of Metroid Dread, which we actually get a gameplay trailer. It looks interesting. It's a definite, throwback to Metroid.
I've played Super Metroid, and that was a good game. I think that's universally considered a good game. Metroid Dread looked actually pretty good for a 2D Metroidvania or Metroid game. No, I'd pick it up if I could, but
if you had a Switch,
I don't know if it's a system seller for me, but we'll see when it comes out.
So that pretty much wraps up the E3 conference overall. Look, there's a lot more things that went on during E3. There's a few more announcements. We just picked out some of the bigger stuff, obviously. Things like there was a Hitman mobile game, Final Fantasy VI is getting a remake, little things like that, which, guys, if you're interested at all, go and have a look at a recap of some of the conferences. So overall, what do you think, bro?
Underwhelming.
Yeah.
In one word, yeah, it was very underwhelming. I mean, of the big names we got absolutely no content. It was mostly who cares.
Yeah, we'll see. Battlefield 2042 was definitely the winner, in my opinion, for this particular conference. We got a gameplay trailer, we got a really cool cinematic sort of thing, we got a release date. Whereas you see things like, well, take Halo Infinite, for instance, we don't get any release dates. We got multiplayer gameplay only, which it looks fun. It looks good. It looks like a basic Halo multiplayer, which is always fun. But yeah, just really disappointing on some of the games that we probably expected to see here.
I don't know about the digital format. I kind of like the physical on a stage in front of an audience. One, that gives a lot of content to make fun of, and two, I don't know, maybe they think more of it.
I don't think that this particular E3 could have been done in front of a live audience because I think it would have got absolutely shit canned.
Hear some boos. Yeah, I could definitely hear some boos.
I think the live audience, could you imagine a live audience sitting there for an hour and a half during the Take Two lecture?
You wouldn't be able to hear what they were saying. The boos would be fucking resounding. It'd be entertaining. It'd be entertaining to laugh at. But that's about it.
Yeah, some things work well in a digital format. This particular conference probably did because there wasn't really much there. PlayStation again absent from the entire show. PlayStation has an upcoming state of play coming sometime soon, which is going to be interesting. Hopefully, they've got some good content to share.
Thanks for listening to the 02 podcast with me, Catchy, and LT. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for listening to the 02 podcast. I've been Catchy along with LT. We'll catch you in the next episode. Coming soon.